Meantime, we've got some real drama building up just south of this country in Puerto Rico, bracing for a direct hit from Hurricane Maria. And obviously, if that isn't bad enough, all of this coming at a time when home builder confidence, which was picking up, has been slipping after these hurricanes. In fact, a lot of people rethinking moves, even for vacation homes, to Florida or the Caribbean or the Virgin Islands. To former Fannie Mae executive Tim Rood, whether that is justified. I guess, Tim, this sort of stuff happens during the hurricane season, especially if it's a busy or devastating one, as this one has been. But they are usually short-lived. People who are skittish then realize, yeah, Florida's still a draw. Yeah, the Gulf is still a draw, and they shake that off. But in the meantime, the slowdown is palpable. People are getting anxious, aren't they?
Yeah, and hi, Neil. This is the first time in history, I think, that you've had two Category 4 East Coast hurricanes hit in a year. And make no mistake, I mean, Florida is in big trouble. We look at it just from the housing perspective, just alone, because it's easy to kind of size these things up. And if you think about Florida and Texas combined, that's about 5 million homes that have been affected by this in some way, shape, or form. It's about $750 billion worth of mortgages that are underlying that. But back to your point, the business community has been really crushed in Florida. I mean, we do a lot of vacationing down in the Isle Morada area. We get pictures from that. We have some colleagues who work there. And it's kind of like they described it as like a snowstorm in the Northeast, where you have the main roads are clear, and you look down the sides, and it's a disaster. It's going to take a long time to clean those up and for those businesses to get back online.
What happens? What is the rule of thumb with that? That what's hit now, it's sort of like a coiled, spring, that it springs back into action with the rebuilding and all the activity, and people sort of forget this and move on. Not all the time. And this has been a very unusual, as you say, hurricane season. But what's your sense of it?
I think it's going to take a couple of quarters for this to happen, for this to really get kind of rehabilitated and get back to relative normal. What's going to happen first is you need to clear all of the debris. And what you found, particularly in Florida, is that you have a lot of infrastructure problems. This isn't like dangling power lines. I mean, these are cement and metal posts that have been flatlined. And you had 60,000 workers in there just to get the power back up. And I think you still have 500,000 folks that still don't have power. So there's a long way to go to get back to any sort of normalcy. And then you've got this whole process beyond once you clear things up and you fix the utilities about the reconstruction and then kind of getting the revitalization of the economy. And governments aren't very good at revitalizing those economies. They can find ways to rebuild. But, one of the other things about this is you're going to have Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and FHA who guarantee 90% of those properties that are in harm's way are going to be looking at some sort of a credit event. And not to get off topic, but think about that when you're looking at housing reform, and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were basically been stripped of all their capital. Well, now you have the perfect storm, literally, where they're going to be in a position where they could exhaust what little capital they have and be forced to have a draw from the Treasury Department. And that's going to get crazy in a hurry.
Yeah, if the Treasury is so inclined, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, then thank you very, very much.